Welcome to the Freewoman podcast, a space for all women who are ready to break free of the inauthentic life.
Hi, Free Woman. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome, Freewoman. We are happy that you are here. We are happy that we are here.
And we're happy you hit play. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we have had kind of an interesting week once again.
I know. I was like, what even happened last week? I'm like, what did we do?
I mean, you took two teenagers skiing.
Oh, I did. I did that.
That was a fun adventure for you.
I did that yesterday, so that's fresh on my mind.
My toddler decided to get sick again because that's what happens when you have a toddler in daycare.
Yeah, I shared a drink with him yesterday, and then I afterwards was like, that was not a good idea.
He is a walking petri dish.
Yeah.
And his favorite thing in the world is to sneeze on you and also share food with you.
Yep.
Yep.
So, I don't know, maybe next week I'll be talking about how sick I am.
He kindly wants to share his germs with everyone in the house.
Very, very kind, very giving.
It's so hard to resist, though. Have you ever had a toddler, want to share a bite with you? And the way they're like,
I mean, he's pretty cute. Please. It's hard to say no to him.
Please.
I know.
And you're just like, oh my God, okay,
please.
Fine.
Yeah, he knows how to work.
And then he immediately sneezes.
God damn it.
Yeah, so.
There's all the germs.
I don't know. Eventually, someday, we'll do something besides be sick, I think. But when you're a mom, that is a huge part of your life.
It is.
Or just a parent. It's a big part of your life, dealing with the sickness.
I've dated a few men that are, they have no kids, and they talk about, oh, I never get sick. And I'm like, that's because you're not a parent. And
I used to never get sick, too.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. Congratulations.
Yeah. It just comes with it.
Yeah, so, my daughter got braces. Just mom stuff, I feel
mom
like.
stuff. We were doing mom stuff.
Busyness. If you're middle-aged, you have children, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's like some things you remember and some things you don't. And you're like, what happened to last week?
Like, I don't know. I was busy. What did I do?
I know. Well, that's how I feel right now. I am completely blank. I don't even remember past yesterday.
You're like when your husband used to come home from work and ask you what you did all day.
Uh-huh.
And you're just lying on the couch like you just got ran over by a train.
A train, yeah. My ex, Mr. Brewster, used to work all day and come home after I put the kids to bed. And, when they're babies and toddlers, man, that is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I would just collapse on the couch for a few minutes and he'd be like, what'd you do all day? And I'm like, I don't even know. And then he's like, you want to have sex? And I'm like, I really don't feel like that right now.
The last thing I want right now is for that to be asked of me.
And then he'd get mad and he'd
let me clean the spit up and poop off of me and then see if I can feel attractive.
He'd get angry and he'd be like, I feel like we're just roommates now. And that was like the most offensive thing you could say to me. I was like, I'm keeping your children alive. Like, I feel like we're more than roommates.
Yeah.
And
I just birthed two humans with your DNA and we're just roommates.
And we're just roommates. And then I would say, well, I would really love if you would just come hold me in the room. I would love to be held right now. He'd get mad, storm off, and he'd just go out with his friends. He's like, well, if you're just going to go lay down, I'm going to go out with my buddies.
Well, something I've noticed with abusive relationships is whatever the dynamic is, whether you have children, whether you're working, whatever your balance with that person is, they will always make you feel like you are not doing enough.
Yeah.
Like you are lazy, like you are not stepping up, you're not emotionally available enough, you're not sexually available, whatever it is, you're not enough.
Yeah, that was our relationship, especially when we had kids and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That was one of the things I really desired. And I'm glad I did it. I love all the memories I have with my kids, but I never felt like I was doing as much of him as he was at work. And so I would never stop at the house when I was taking care of the kids. Yeah. I made sure the house was impeccable, like clean. I always had homemade meals, did everything, and still just felt like I was never doing enough. And then he started getting mad at me and frustrated when I just tell him like how maybe today was hard because the kids.
Oh, you had a hard day? You're not allowed to have a hard day. Do you know how hard his day was?
Oh, always. And he'd just say, well, maybe we need to switch jobs. Maybe I need to stay home and you need to go to work. Or he started pushing on me that when I would just talk to him and confine in him how I was feeling, he's like, I think you need to go back to work. I'm like, why is this connecting
It's like
with
a
me needing to work?
competition.
Yeah, and plus I was like, if I go back to work,
Well,
how am I going to even have time to do everything I
that's
do?
another sign you're in an abusive relationship, is if it feels like a competition.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to talk about today.
For who,
abusive relationships.
For who
the signs.
has the most trauma, the hardest day, the biggest thing to celebrate, whatever it is, it's a competition, and it always has to be, like, it has to end with them winning.
God,
it has to be about them.
I wish I knew this then. I did not understand it.
Well, sometimes you just only learn by going through it. Well, I feel like surviving abusive relationships is almost like being a veteran of war. And it's like sometimes you just need to hang out with the other vets because they're the only ones that really, really get it.
And they validate too, like what you've been through, where they're like, oh yeah, me too. I've been through that battle.
Yeah, because talking to someone who just has a healthy relationship, it's just like, oh, you don't get constantly belittled and demeaned. Oh, you don't feel like you're crazy all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, you can just come home and relax together without an explosion.
Well,
or
if people also, even if there are people, a few out there in healthy relationships, but there's also people who are in denial and they don't want to talk to you about what you're going through because it triggers them and brings up their stuff as well.
Yeah, so it's really only the ones who've processed it that are good to talk to about it. Well, I feel like a lot of people, they might not be in like a narcissistic abusive relationship, but they are in an unhealthy relationship because it's just so hard for us to talk, to have emotionally vulnerable conversations with our romantic partners. We're so afraid of rejection.
Yeah.
We're so conditioned to keep the peace that I've seen a lot of relationships dissolve just because both partners aren't willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And express like needs.
It's kind of an immaturity too. Like if you want to have a healthy relationship, you just have to find ways to communicate and be vulnerable.
Gosh, it's so hard.
Yeah. It is not easy.
Well, and a lot of times we end up kind of mimicking what our parents did.
Yeah.
And so if you find someone else that's like willing to play that game with you, it can go on for quite a long time. But
yeah, 17 years.
I was going to say 20 years later, you find that you don't actually really know each other because you're not having those vulnerable conversations.
Yeah.
You're not connecting in those ways.
Yeah, you know each other's like triggers or habits.
You just kind of will like
characteristics,
passive aggressively poke at each other instead of have it out.
But you actually don't really know each other. So
yeah. Well, I am with a healthy man now.
Yeah, you are. He's
healthy,
good guy.
Healthy, good guy. But I have found that it is still, it feels like jumping off a cliff almost when you like can sense that something is like brewing or that something's going on, because he's not just going to come and scream in my face or throw something or pick a fight, right? And so I have to like approach and be like, so I've noticed something and it made me feel this way. And I don't know why, but that is just so hard for me to just directly speak it out loud.
Oh, I will avoid it as long as I have to.
When it's not actually like a fight that you're just yelling at each other and you can just like scream it out or whatever. But it's like, I'm going to do this in a kind, healthy way, even though it makes me feel super
afraid. Yeah. Well, and you know, when you've been with someone who is explosive and dangerous or gets mad very easily when you're just expressing your feelings for a long time, it takes almost just as long to heal with a healthy person. I mean, I grew up with a pretty dangerous father, explosive, scary,
very explosive father.
And I don't know if I'll ever overcome the fear of feeling like I'm going to get hit when I'm asking for my needs or that I'm going to get yelled at. It's just I don't know. I mean, it's better than it used to be. Like, I feel like I can actually communicate some of my needs and desires if something's bothering me, but I still have this part inside me that shakes and gets
that
nervous.
Recognizes that this is a dangerous thing to do. It's dangerous. Well, I was surprised to realize that I had that even with sex. And we've talked about this, how we're conditioned to feel as women like we need to caretake men
Yeah.
by giving them our bodies.
Yeah.
And
Keep them happy.
Growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, and all of that culture, and in a very religious, traditional gender roles society, whatever, I am afraid that if I turn a man down after it's gotten to a certain point, that I will then be attacked. And so it's almost
Yeah.
this feeling of just let him have your body, because then you won't be yelled at, you won't be labeled a bitch, a whore,
A roommate.
you won't be called names. Yeah,
Yeah.
you won't have to have this huge fight with them, or them even just like sulking and punishing you in passive
Well,
aggressive
they
ways.
act like children having a
Oh
tantrum.
yeah.
Except for they're in a grown man
Yeah, my
body.
ex used to like sulk and slam doors and slam
Yeah.
cabinets if I rejected him.
Same. My ex would do the same,
And
and
it's like,
I was very confused. I actually have a very hard time with understanding myself in my marriage with my ex, because we did consistently have sex, but there were so many times I didn't want to. And there was definitely one time for sure I know that I did not say yes to it, and I just
it
laid there and
happened.
then let him take it, and then I just was in shock and then never said anything. But
Yeah, but I noticed it even as a teenager with boys. Like if I agreed to go to a dance with a boy or something, and I'm giving him all of the cues that this is just his
yes.
friends,
Yeah.
but in his head, he wants something to happen.
Oh yeah.
And it just was almost this feeling of like, well, I guess I have to make out with him now.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
otherwise I'm going to have a huge showdown with him in his car. And as a Mormon girl,
Yeah.
I was not taught how to have a huge showdown with a boy.
You stay nice. That's what I was taught.
I was not taught how to tell them to fuck off
I
or
know.
like get off of me. Like I was not
Yeah.
taught to have those fiery words in my
Yes.
soul.
Well, I had a couple times when I was young, and I would be staying over like with a group of friends, and yeah, I guess there's like a couple guys there too. And I had one guy just come lay on top of me, and I just didn't move. I was like, don't move. I didn't know what to do. I was so afraid if I moved a little bit, he thought I would be giving him permission. And he just laid on top of me for a while and then finally got off. And this happened a few times. And I never did anything about it because I didn't know. I just thought this was normal. And plus, I didn't want guys to not like me.
Yeah.
So it is like
Well, you want to, it's that pick me girl, I guess is the trending word for it, where you want to be chosen, you want to be liked, you want to be desired. And then you couple that with this culture that's conditioned you to please men.
yes.
And to not be confrontational. And next thing you know, we're just like, I guess he just gets to have me now. I guess I
Yeah.
agreed to this by being in a car with him late at night.
Yeah.
Going on a date with him, and maybe I flirted with him a little bit. So now, okay, I guess that was me saying yes.
Well, even like when you're married or you're with, your partner for a long time. And to me, with my ex, like I felt like I just had to let him touch me whenever he wanted. If I was changing my clothes, it felt like an invitation for him to come in and grope me and touch me. And
Yeah.
and I would. Sometimes I say, I don't want this right now. I don't want this. But then I was the bad guy.
Yeah, you're being difficult. You're being cold. You're being unfeeling.
Yeah, or just like I said, like when we, yeah, I know. Or just when we were, like I said a few minutes ago, like with being exhausted and putting the kids to bed. And then he's like saying that we're roommates now. Or sometimes he'd be accusing me of being interested in other men.
Yeah, well, it's
Cheating.
kind of like you're conditioned to just cater to all of their needs, and it's always about them, whether it's sexual needs or, housekeeping needs or
Taking care of the
budgeting
kids,
needs,
grocery
grocery shopping. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's all about making their life easier, making things smooth for them, and your needs never are even supposed to be brought up. You're not even
I
supposed to acknowledge you
I
have
don't
needs.
even know what my needs were.
Oh, you can have 2 weeks from now, you can have half a day to go do something for
Yeah.
yourself. You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's like, no, human needs have to be more than breadcrumbs parceled out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was just so exhausted. I was like, I don't even know what my needs were. I think one Mother's Day I asked to have just the whole day to myself. I'm like, I really want nobody
Nothing.
here. And I think that was one of the first times my ex with his friend took the kids out, and I stayed in bed until like noon, and it was
Yeah.
like heaven. But that's where I was at. I was just so exhausted and so worn out that I'm like, can I just not be touched? Can I just stay in bed?
That's what I was just thinking when I was talking about needs and having needs. To even know what that is, to even know what it is that your soul is craving, you just need space. You
Well,
need quiet. You need stillness.
my soul was craving to divorce that bastard.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's
you need
what I
to
did.
just lay in bed for half a day. But how can you even get there if you're just go, go, go
Yeah.
all the time and constantly worrying about everybody else?
Well, I think you hit burnout.
That's usually how it happens for
Burnout,
women.
and then you just have nothing left to give, and then you just become a bitch.
But this is a sign of an abusive relationship when your needs are on the back burner like that. Man or woman, if
Yeah.
you are constantly serving, giving, catering, if the entire world revolves around this other person and managing them and their emotions, and you don't even get to hardly have half a day,
Yeah.
then you are in an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, did you know it's not your job to manage your husband or boyfriend's emotions?
Their emotional state,
Yeah.
or girlfriends.
Or girlfriend.
Because we've seen that too. But yeah. And I know for me, it was like, it always felt like his fires were bigger than mine.
Uh-huh.
Like his emotions, his mental health, like he just needed so much more help than me. And clearly I can like figure it out and I'll be okay. And so it's kind of like he has a bonfire raging. So let's just constantly be addressing that.
Yeah, mine was a little bit. Your ex reminds me so much of my dad, but
Well, yeah, because then he'd be explosive and have meltdowns and basically adult temper tantrums.
and they're
if,
scary.
If I was not addressing his bonfire
Yeah, mine was a little
by
bit
meeting
different.
his needs constantly.
Yeah, mine's a little different where my ex, Mr. Rooster, I was the problem. I need to go to therapy. I need to see what's wrong with me because
No, but that was because his needs aren't being met.
that's what I mean. Yeah, his needs not being met, but I need to go figure it out because I'm not giving enough or doing enough for him. And usually it had to do with sex. Even though I say this almost every time we talk about this, we were having sex at least twice a week with children. The only time it wasn't
young toddler children.
and the only time it was not like that is when I just gave birth. And he knew he had to wait. But, you know, after the first one, we waited a few months because, one, I was nervous, and also I was breastfeeding, so I had no desire to be touched. I did not feel that sensation.
Not have to justify yourself.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is completely okay.
Well, it feels
to just, you know.
Well, it feels good to talk about it because
Yeah.
it's like now I realize how wrong it was. And it's
Yeah.
like, and then when we talked about having my second, the first thing he said is like, well, I'm just really worried about us having another one because the first one really hurt our sex life.
Well, I had the same thing with my husband, with Survivor Man, I guess we can call him. It felt like he was competing with our newborn infant for my attention.
Wow.
And it's because he was.
Yeah.
That's where his maturity level was at. And that's the role I was in. I was his mommy and he was my child.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I actually did not experience that with my ex, but
Yeah, he would actually get jealous even of me nursing.
wow.
Yeah, and that I was giving so much to this baby. And I just, like so many other things in our relationship, I was just like, man, you have so much trauma. Like,
Yeah.
you have so much trauma, honey. But then I was also in that mindset of like, I love him and I'm gonna like love him through this trauma. And so it was always about me loving him through his trauma. And it was
Well,
never about me.
that's another thing that we were taught too, is like you just sacrifice yourself for this person that you're with,
Yeah.
even if they're extremely abusive like that or selfish.
Well, I really did have that romanticized view that my love could save someone, that my love could overcome anything, that if I loved him, it would heal him. And I, at the time, definitely wouldn't have said I was doing that. But looking back, when I see how I stayed through this and this and this, and the separation trauma, I guess, the detaching trauma I experienced during the divorce, that's what I found myself letting go of. I was like, oh, it's not gonna be my story to save them. That might end up being another woman that gets to quote save him.
Good luck, lady.
I know I'm not going to get to be a part of his story in that way. And now that I've healed even more, I realize that that's just not going to be in the works for him.
Yeah.
He can only save himself.
Yeah, no one, that's one thing you have to know going into a relationship. You cannot save a person. They have to do their own work, their own inner work, and work on their emotions.
Yeah, that poor little boy that I was clinging to, and my ex, who is so traumatized, he's gonna have to go and retrieve that little boy. I cannot do it for him.
Nope.
It's really hard to explain. Like I said, you almost have to hang out with other veterans of trauma, of trauma and abusive relationships to understand it. But it really is what I basically found through the excavation process of detaching myself from him.
Well, I think that's one of the things that happened in my marriage as well, is I do know that my ex and I are wounded children just clung to each other. Like we both just wanted to be loved so bad. Then I became a mom and, you know, I started to grow and blossom and it started to shift. And I wanted him to come with me, but he couldn't and he wouldn't. And I started getting this confidence and my love started to change. I loved him still, but I wasn't like in love with him the same way. It wasn't like this desperate love that I had before when I was younger.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started to mature and evolve. And I'm like, well, come with me and do this. And he wouldn't. He just started getting angry and mad and he was out of control. Like he felt like he couldn't control me the same way.
That's a story I hear a lot of survivors tell, and that is true for me as well, is that I started to do my own work. Things in the relationship were coming to a head in such a way that I was forced to do my own work and start to love myself and start to heal parts of myself. And suddenly things shifted and I just couldn't be in this dynamic anymore with him. I couldn't accept that I deserved to be treated this way. I couldn't accept that I needed to chase his love and approval because I was starting to love me.
Well, I also started to wake up and realize that I, in a sense, had been pretending. Not that I really thought I was pretending on purpose. I think it was just a role I put myself in.
It's like a reflex.
Yeah, to survive the relationship with him, because when I got together with him at 18, a child still, he was all I had. And so I adapted and changed who I was and changed this character's everything to be with him. And then when I became a mom, it just did something to me. Like it was me. I did that. I gave birth to that child. That was me. And taking care of the children a lot of times on my own, I just started to like, it was like I was waking up. This like real version of me was waking up. And I couldn't do this pretending thing with him, especially when it came to our sex life and him touching me. And I started to wake up to how much I had betrayed myself over and over and over again. Because when I was taught that's what you do. You just submit and you give your body to your partner, your husband, your boyfriend. And I also just realized I really didn't like him touching me anymore. Like I just started
Yeah.
feeling sick. I was like, I just felt the lies. I felt myself lying to myself to make that work.
Well, it's interesting, this is true for me, and I know it's true for you. Most survivors I've talked to don't label the relationship as abusive until after.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because to survive an abusive relationship, you create stories. Because if you're in a dangerous situation, a painful situation, and you don't feel like there's another option for you, there's no way out of it at that time, then you start to create a story to make it bearable.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I created stories about, you know, our love and how intense it was and romantic it was and how it was getting better, and it's okay, it's like relationships are supposed to be hard, and I like created all these stories because when I look back, there was a very dangerous moment early on in the relationship when I tried to leave him and then I couldn't, and I was like 9 months pregnant, and I had a handicapped baby. I had a baby with special needs, and it all happened at the same time, and there was no way for me to get out at that time that I could see.
Yeah.
And so I created a story about how we have this like romantic fairy tale relationship that's super intense and very
Well,
dramatic.
it's almost like a play, and you have to switch your character to play that. You have to switch internally
It's
who you
survival.
are, survival, to play that character.
And little kids do this too when
Yeah.
they're in abusive homes, and
Yeah.
it's just something we naturally do. Our psychology does. It kicks in to help us keep going.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until after the divorce and then we were in the custody battle that, and I actually was sent by the police to a women's shelter and
Pretty serious.
asked to explain the situation, that it clicked that I was in an abusive relationship. It was like, oh my God, that is what this is. How did we not see this? 1 + 1 = 2.
I know.
How were we like 1 + 1 maybe could equal 5?
I know.
How did we do that for so many years?
Well, it took me a long time also. It took me going into my childhood trauma and actually seeing the abuse.
Well,
And
trauma is confusing. It's
it
very,
is.
it takes you kind of out of this like clear thinking place and puts you in this very, it's like the upside down.
Yeah, that's
And it's like similar to reality, but not reality, and time's all messed up, and things are really intense and emotional.
well, you have to survive, and that's what I was doing as a kid, is surviving. And then I just dreamed about my knight in shining armor since I was very little. And, because I was raised Mormon, I knew I had to find someone senior year. So that's what I did.
Yeah, you're 18 now.
Yeah, and
Those eggs aren't going to be good much longer.
Yep, yep, you gotta reproduce now. Thank God I didn't reproduce right away, but I don't even know how I could have been a mom at 18, 19, or 20. But anyway.
Like I did?
Yeah, I know. Wow, I know.
Well, that's the other thing. I was 21 when I had my first, and he had disabilities
Yeah, that would have
and
been a
special
lot.
needs.
Yeah,
And I was also in the middle of trying to leave my husband.
yeah.
And then I just ended up not leaving.
Yeah, because you're kind of trapped.
And then 13 years later, I find myself sitting in a women's shelter and being like, how did we get here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's emotional. It's a lot.
Well, that's the other part of abuse, that is a sign you're in an abusive relationship, is they alter reality
Yeah.
so much. You really don't feel like you're standing on stable ground. It's always shifting, and the narrative's always shifting, and somehow you're always the bad guy. And so we've talked about
Yeah.
this, how you find yourself trying to address a problem. Hey, you did this thing that really hurt me. And next thing you know, you're apologizing
You're
to
the
them.
bad guy. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that somehow I made you hurt me.
Well, there's so many times I brought up something that really hurt me and we never addressed it or talked about it. Like serious things, like him lying to me about going to strip clubs or, hugging a girl in front of me who
Flirting with women in front of you and touching them inappropriately.
Yeah, one of them I thought, one of them he was kind of dating.
It turns out.
Until I told him, I really don't like this. You need to choose me or her. It made him mad. And I think he slept with her. Anyways, moving on.
But yeah, and then you end up being the bad guy.
Yeah, and I would be like, can we talk about this?
They are such masters at flipping the narrative.
Like, well, you just can't ever let this go, can you? You just can't let go of the past. We have
seen this with politicians, right? When they get in trouble, how artfully they change the narrative and how like they never answer anything directly and then suddenly they're accusing someone else of something.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what abusive men do.
It is. Well, looking at my childhood trauma, going through a lot of really hard stuff, and then having finally really healthy people in my life, like safe, healthy people, is what started to open my eyes to the abuse, like real, true abuse that I grew up in.
Yeah.
And because I was so blinded by it, of course, I just went right into the arms of another narcissist. I didn't know.
Well, it's so confusing. Oh my goodness. Sorry, we have a kitty right here who has a little bit of a fur issue, so he looks a little bit rough.
He gets matted hair. And,
sorry for audio people, you didn't get to see that.
He looks rough, but he's very happy.
Yeah, he's okay, guys. Don't call animal control.
He's in good hands.
He's not being abused. And if he is, it's his fault.
Yeah, see? Abuse. That's abuse.
Yeah. They do. They alter reality, and you do feel like you're crazy. You feel like your brain just doesn't work right, or your memory just doesn't work right. And I remember so towards the end of my relationship with Survivor Man, he moved in another woman. And that was why it was the end of the relationship, because I moved out shortly after.
You didn't want to live with another woman?
I was like, yeah, no, I don't think I can do this. I tried it for like a month, and I was like, no, it's as bad as I thought it would be.
You're not into polygamy? Was that something you dreamed of?
No, it wasn't, but I felt like I was. Here's an example. He wants to move in another woman, and I say, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't even know her. And he says, well, you need to trust me. Trust me that I wouldn't do anything that's bad for our relationship. Just give it a try. And suddenly I'm the bad guy because I'm not willing to be open and give something a try that he feels like is going to be really good for our relationship. He feels really strongly about it. Okay, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
She moves in. It's not good. It has become a narcissist's dream where he can triangulate and abuse even better because now there's two of them.
Oh my God.
And
he probably loved that.
So I expressed unhappiness. I told him this isn't working. And now once again, I'm the bad guy because she doesn't have anywhere to go. She doesn't have anywhere to live. And I am just I'm just going to kick her out on the street.
Wow, how dare you?
And I'm like, well, she doesn't have kids. She can go get a job. I mean, I'm working. Why am I the only one in this house that's got a job? So anyway, then it turned into, have I thought about working on my jealousy issues? And have I thought about my insecurities and what might be wrong with me that's causing me to be so jealous all the time?
So he was just putting all the problems on you.
An example of how they spin things. And it was so confusing for me. And that's part of, like I said, why I started working on myself, is because I was like, well, apparently I have a lot of issues. Because I'm just so insecure, apparently.
Yeah, and so jealous that another woman moved in.
With another woman that my ex is infatuated with and sleeping with. Sorry, my husband at the time.
Yeah.
And so I started working on myself, and I was like, yeah, I think it's not okay. I cannot do this anymore. And so I moved out. And then it was only not being in his web all the time, not communicating with him all the time,
Yeah.
not living with him all the time that I started to get clarity. And I was like, wow, that was a really messed up situation that I was being told to take all of the responsibility for.
Yeah.
And now the people who are still in his web, the story is that like a sex addict or
Yeah.
something, and I wanted
You're like,
her, and was creating the situation because I like am so insane.
you were so upset that
I'm
he didn't let her move in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know, but it's been spun again. So people in his circle still, even though they watched him move in a woman, even though they watched me move out and watched him marry that woman, somehow I'm still the bad guy. And this is how good they are at spinning the narrative.
They are.
And so when you are in a relationship, a romantic, intense relationship with someone like that, you feel like reality is constantly shifting.
You feel crazy.
You do.
You feel you don't know what's real and what's not real. And like you said, once you get out of the web and you're like not around them all the time, not talking with them as much anymore, it's like the fog starts to dissipate.
Yeah.
And you start to kind of see clear and you're like, oh, that was a really asshole move. Actually, I really didn't like that. Actually, that did make me feel
I'm
horrible.
with people now that don't yell at me and call me jealous
And
when
then-
I express hurt feelings.
Yeah, and then some, if I share my story, people look at me in such shock and horror that happened. And you're like, yeah, that's what I lived through. That's what happened. And then you start to really think, well, maybe I'm not the problem.
Yeah, then you start to heal on another level where you realize that you were actually horribly mistreated and abused. And then that brings up emotions again because you realize how much of your life you spent just accepting less than.
And just wasted time. I wasted so many years.
But we do this, everyone always judges victims of abuse because they hear the stories and they're like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Why did you stay so long?
Like,
why did you let that happen?
If a man called me those names or raped me like that, I would leave so fast. And they don't understand the psychological abuse side of things. And also the childhood trauma, the desire that you have to so desperately be seen and loved because as a child, you were not seen
and not
loved. And so there's all of this childhood trauma at work that causes you to chase
and
people that cannot love you.
And then it doesn't just happen overnight. They groom you.
And then they like a frog being boiled, right? Yep. They slowly turn up the temperature and they test you and they test how far they can take it. And they test how you'll respond and they learn your triggers.
They do.
And it's very dark.
It is. And it's hard. It's hard. I mean,
it's like a cat playing with a mouse. They learn how far they can kind of like take it.
What helped me was when I started to, like the last year of my marriage, is I started to stand up for myself and say no. And my ex could tell, Mr. Brewster could tell that he's like, I'm pretty sure she wants to get divorced. And he was just showing his true colors. He was not being calm and patient anymore. And he was acting like a spoiled little brat.
Oh, yeah.
And that was clarifying that we were doing the right thing. I was like, oh, wow. I don't want to do this. And then same thing. 2 weeks after I move out and divorced, he has a woman already that he has all over social media who's his new love, and just like, we're so lucky to have each other. And I was just, but actually, I wasn't shocked. Everybody else was shocked. I was like, no, I'm not surprised. This is how he treated me through our whole relationship. What hurt me is what he did with the kids, because that is their weapon. Yeah. They use your children to get to you and hurt you and take control.
Yeah, they do not have, they will go to any depth of betrayal. They do not have that common decency that healthy people have. Mm-hmm. There is no line they won't cross to get their revenge. Yeah. And they'll, if you don't have kids but you share animals, they'll use the animals.
Yeah, they'll do the animals.
They will if you have a family that still talks to them, they will use your family.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons I went no contact with my entire family is because they have remained friends with him,
Yeah.
my abuser.
Yeah, and I've seen it too with they'll use anything. I've seen toxic people use things like illnesses to pull in partners again.
Oh, I know.
Or even invented illnesses.
Yeah.
But if they have actual illnesses, yeah. Yeah. They do not have the common decency of mentally healthy people, that they won't cross those lines.
Yeah.
That they won't wreck the car.
Yeah, they know you have like a goodness inside you, and they will use that. And they will,
But they also know that you have a wounded. They know
yeah.
your wounds. And that's the thing they do before they really let out their dark side, is they figure out what your vulnerabilities are.
Yeah.
So during the initial stages, they will love bomb. They will be your knight in shining armor. Your dream come true.
They may even write you a song and then never write you a song again.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I thought you were this was gonna be a normal thing.
Or my ex sewed his girlfriend that was living with us a skirt for Halloween.
Oh my God.
While I sat there and waited for hours because I was late to the party.
Wow.
He had to sew her skirt because it didn't fit quite right. They will bend over backwards and be so self-sacrificing and so thoughtful and just all of your needs and wants that you haven't even thought of.
But try when you start breaking up with them, when you start having boundaries, like you truly finally have boundaries because you see who they are, you will see the real person that they are.
Well,
and
they do the love bombing because they want you to show your vulnerable side to them. So they will do that until they get all of those vulnerable pieces out of you. And then they know how to play you. They know how to manipulate you. And then they start testing to see how far they can take it, how naughty they can be.
Oh, they do.
Yep.
Oh, and sometimes you catch them. Sometimes,
I guess she's not going to let me have a girlfriend. I guess I have to break up with my girlfriend because she's throwing a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't quite cross that one.
You see it in their eyes too sometimes. They're like, oh, I got caught.
Oh, yeah, yep. Or they have that little smirk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then they start to experiment with how far they can take it and how far they can take it, and they wear you down and they wear you down and they wear you down. But then it's not until you really confront them and decide to end the relationship that you see the mask drop completely.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't even bother breadcrumbing you anymore.
Nope. And you better hope you're not living with them still when this happens.
It can get dangerous.
It can. My ex started like throwing things. He was acting like a child. I was like, oh, wow, we're doing this now.
Toddler level.
Yep. Yeah. I was like, we're doing this now. Okay.
Yeah, they'll get in your face. They'll, and if they will emotionally and psychologically abuse you, if they will call you horrific names and belittle you, it's only a matter of time before that person will become physical as well.
Yeah.
Or rape you.
Yeah. It can be dangerous.
It progresses.
I have learned now, after divorce and a few other relationships, is that you can break up with someone through text.
You can.
You can. These narcissists do not break up with them in person.
That's the other piece. We need to do a whole episode on how do you break up with narcissists, because
we should.
It is dangerous.
It is dangerous. We should do that next time.
And they do such a good job of pulling you back in. If you give them any opening. That's why the whole gray rock method has been touted all over the internet. This idea of keeping it super bland, super short, very like no emotion.
Yeah, very few words.
We
Flat.
are breaking up. I'm done. Period.
And
then no more engagement after that.
Just watch. They will send you, it depends on the person, but they will send you paragraphs to read.
Well, they're trying to get you to engage, because if they can get you to give them more, then they can pull you in, and then they can start to alter reality, and they can start to gaslight you and make you confused and turn the tables and blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't understand. Could you just explain this to me more?
Yeah.
No, they understand. They know exactly that they're being naughty boys.
They are. Well, and I think divorce is and then the several years after, and just the way my ex has treated me.
You really see them.
through texting or when I say no.
Unless he wants something.
Unless they want something, then
Yeah.
they are nice. You get a different vibe, a different
Huh?
text. But that helped me to see because it took me so long to come out of my, I don't know, fantasy or just,
The story you created about him.
yeah, it took me a long, long time. But now that we're been divorced for 7 years and just the way he is so disrespectful towards me, the mother of his children,
Yeah.
continuously, I'm like, oh,
Well,
maybe
and
he
the
was
way
abusive.
he treats the children
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That was what really opened my eyes is when he started abusing the kids to hurt me.
Yeah.
Using them as pawns, he altering reality to the point my son would hit his head
Yeah.
and say my brain doesn't work right.
Yeah.
Because dad says it's one way and my memory says it's another way, so my brain
Mm-hmm.
must not work. Seeing him do those things, I just realized that I was in love with a person that had never existed.
The person you created to survive.
I cherry picked
Mm-hmm.
personality traits throughout the marriage based on who I thought he was when he was love bombing me. And then to keep that love bombing person alive, I cherry picked throughout our marriage
Yeah.
and was like, this is who he really is, not 70% of the rest of the relationship that's horrific.
God, I
This
know.
30% that's wonderful, that's who he really is, and that's who I'm fighting for. And then the divorce happens, the mask comes completely off
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't need to love bomb anymore. He's got new supply.
He's got to make you the bad guy
And
now.
now I'm enemy.
Yep.
And my kids, if they're in reality at all, are also the enemy. And so that's when I realized that the person I'm grieving, because I just went through a divorce,
Mm-hmm.
isn't real. They are not real.
Yeah, they're not real. I think I was just, there's been moments now with how much depth I've gone into with my trauma and my trauma bond with my ex. And there's moments where I just, it hits me and I'm like, God, I just made him feel so good about himself with how much I made him feel special. And he's really a loser. And I was like,
Yep.
I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm embarrassed
I
at
get
how
it.
much I put him on a pedestal. And I'm like, God, I bet people were just that new, were probably laughing at me because he was lying and cheating and betraying me and mistreating me.
I mean,
And
it's similar to how I feel about having been Mormon and trying to get people to join the Mormon religion.
yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, you poor sweetie.
Hmm.
Oh, we have some apologies to write.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just like, God, well, no wonder he liked being with me because I just made him feel like he was this amazing human. And really, he is not. He is the biggest loser, an asshole, an immature child
That's something else
that,
that is such a red flag for me, such a sign that someone is being abused, is they really speak highly,
yeah.
really highly of their partner. Like, not like, he's a great guy. It's like, oh, he's so smart and he's
Hmm.
so
And
amazing
he
and he's
does
so
this and he does
talented. And they
that.
always are talking about how amazing their partner is. And then they talk very lowly of their own
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
And that's what abusive relationships are like. There's one person that's so amazing and is above any wrong, and then there's the other person.
Well, I really thought that when I was going to divorce him. I thought nobody's going to like me.
He's such a great
I
guy.
did. Those were the words in my head. I'm like, he's such a good guy. He's so amazing. I don't think my family's going to love me anymore. I don't think people are going to understand why I'm doing this. But there was just something so deep inside of me telling me I have to leave. You have to leave and go on this journey. And it was the most difficult choice I had made at the time. I was scared and terrified because I was like, who am I without this person, that I
Yeah.
like clung to for like 17 years.
Yep.
And, but I did, I left and
Well, that's another sign that it's abusive is it's always hard to leave a relationship, especially a 17-year
yeah,
relationship. But when there's abuse involved, it feels almost impossible. It feels like you are losing your entire self.
Your identity.
Your identity. Like you're the bad guy too. And like I felt like I was just like destroying
Yeah.
my children's world.
Same.
But what ended up happening was I saved them.
Yeah, you did.
But I did. I just felt like I was being so selfish.
Same. I was so afraid what I was doing to my kids.
And it's just so hard to let go of the abuser too, because you were trauma bonded.
Yeah.
And it just, gosh.
Well, you know, as soon as
It's not easy.
it's not easy, but as soon as I moved into that apartment and laid in my bed, my own brand new bed, that first night, I felt so free, and I was like, God damn it, we made the right choice.
Well,
That was just the beginning, though. Like, there's been a lot.
it's a
since then.
journey.
It's been a journey.
And, you know, we both have expressed like embarrassment. Wow, the person I was when I was with my ex and the things I did. And it's embarrassing. Or the person I was when I was Mormon and the things I did. Like, wow.
Yeah.
I apologize. Everyone I gave a Book of Mormon to. I'm just so sorry. But I can also have compassion for myself because, oh, honey.
We had nobody.
It was so bad and you had nobody. And you were doing your best. You were always doing your best. And so I invite other free women as they reflect upon these maybe toxic relationships, because how do you get through life without a few?
Oh yeah, come on. The world is so they're everywhere.
Have compassion with yourself. Have compassion that you will always do your best based on what you know. And right now you're doing the best based on what you know.
And you know, honestly, what got me out of that relationship, that marriage, was the moment I decided to love myself. And I remember the moment I did, I was in the bathtub, I was laying there soaking, and, you know, I was trying to encourage myself to say, I want a divorce, because saying those words out loud terrified me. And I'm like, I was like, why do I love everybody else? Why do I sacrifice myself for everybody else? And I laid there and I was like, I'm going to love me. I'm going to always love me and love me first, moving on. And I had to sleep first before I could do it. And the next morning I was like, remember what we said last night? We're going to love ourselves. And I went out because my ex was out in the living room already. And I told him, and I was so nervous, but I did it. And I have done it ever since that moment. Every time I felt like something is shifting in me, you know, I can feel it when I am not taking care of me, when I'm not choosing me first. I'm like, uh-oh, we're doing it again. And then I choose me again. And sometimes that really sucks, because sometimes you lose everybody and everything when you have to choose yourself. Yeah. But man, I'm in such a better...
But at least you have yourself.
I have myself. I'm in a much better place. I have friends that I trust now, and I love, and they love me, and it's safe. It's safe. And I know I will never, ever go into a relationship like that again. And if I do, we are leaving as soon as we realize it's not safe.
Yeah.
So that's what you get from it.
You lose everything, but you have yourself.
Yep, you have yourself.
Versus when you have everything and not yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it was, I decided I wasn't going to let fear run my life anymore.
Yeah.
I was going to do the scary thing. And something just shifted in me. And I was like, I'm not going to run away anymore. I'm not going to hide anymore. I'm going to go towards the things that scare me. And that has kind of been my promise that I made to myself, is if we're scared, but it's like a certain kind of fear that you feel when it's, you know, you need to do it, but it's scary.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're going to always do it. We're not going to let fear control us anymore, because I found that every time I had a lot of shame over my behavior, a lot of regret over my behavior or choices made, it was always when I took the coward's way out. And I found that even if things didn't turn out well, if I did the brave thing, I never regretted it.
Yeah, same. And it takes a lot of courage. So
yeah. It does.
It does. But God, it feels so good to have you and to have that courage inside you and be like, I did that.
That's where self-worth comes
It
from.
does.
That is when you're like, I am worth something because I, like you said, chose myself.
Yeah.
I chose myself over the fear, over the cowardice, over the easy way.
Yeah.
And it creates this self-worth and
It does.
sort of joy in you.
And you are healing something in your generational line moving forward. Your kids are going to get this reward.
Yeah.
They are going to have a head start in life where we didn't have that. We had to learn the
We've
hard way.
already seen it in our children.
Yeah. And that to me is like the greatest gift I could ever have in my life, to see my kids having this safe home and just seeing them blossoming into who they really are, not because they need to make me happy, but it's just who they are. And knowing that they understand already what abuse looks like. They already have the words, they already have some of the knowledge that I never had. And to me, that is just like the greatest reward I can have in my life, and also the greatest gift that I can give my kids.
Well, free woman, wherever you are at on this journey, if you're just becoming aware, if you're just feeling that something's off, or if you've divorced the bastard and now you're trying to unravel
Yeah.
the chaos of why you ever did that to begin with, wherever you're at in this journey, understand that just the fact that you're even going towards those big questions of, why am I here?
Yeah.
What is this? Why am I feeling this way?
What happened?
What happened?
I'm never, ever going to do that
That
again.
you're seeking to become self-aware. That in itself is such a victory.
It is.
And you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, you should, because nobody can do this for you. This has to happen because you make the choice, and then you take the leap forward.
Yes.
You take the courageous path.
Not easy. There's a reason that our parents did not do their work. It's not easy. There's a reason that most relationships aren't healthy. It's not the easy way, but it is the courageous way. It is the heroic way.
It's the rewarding way.
It's the rewarding way. And we are just so proud of you wherever you're at. And I hope you know that you deserve to be proud of yourself.
Thank you so much for listening today.
Thank you.
Remember to like and subscribe.